She didn't leave you because you lacked money. She didn't walk away because you weren't nice enough, loyal enough, or generous enough. She left because you never learned the one truth that decides everything in a woman's desire. She doesn't crave what you give her, she craves what you make her feel. Read that again. You could buy her roses every week, fill her world with gifts, take her to the finest places, cover every bill without her asking, and none of it matters if you don't know how to command her emotions. Because women don't obsess over men who provide comfort. They obsess over men who disturb their balance. Men whose presence makes them restless. Men they cannot predict, cannot control, and cannot forget. And this is where most men fail. They think effort equals love. They think sacrifice earns devotion. They believe that if they keep giving, she'll finally recognize their worth. But here's the brutal reality. Effort without power makes you invisible. Sacrifice without presence makes you disposable. And when she feels that she doesn't thank you, she loses respect. Now I know what you're thinking. You gave her everything. You were loyal, consistent, supportive. You were the man her friends told her she should be grateful for. You played the role of the provider, the safe option, the perfect gentleman. And yet, the man she couldn't resist was the one who gave her less. Less certainty. Less safety. Less comfort. And somehow, more fire. What? Because what women want more than money is the man who shapes the emotional climate around them. The man who doesn't bend when she tests him. The man who doesn't crumble when she withdraws. The man whose silence has weight, whose presence has gravity, whose very being communicates, I don't need your approval to be complete. That's the truth no one told you. Your parents, your teachers, society, they trained you to be agreeable, generous, polite. They told you to avoid conflict, to never upset her, to keep her happy at all costs. But here's the hidden law of attraction. Women don't fall for men they can control. They fall for men who hold the frame. Men who carry themselves with such self-respect, such calm certainty, that she feels pulled into his world without him lifting a finger. And here's what makes it even more painful. The very things you thought were strength, chasing, pleasing, sacrificing, were actually weakness in disguise. Fear wearing the mask of devotion. Insecurity dressed up as romance. You weren't leading. You were begging. You weren't magnetic. You were predictable. And deep down she felt it. Because women don't judge you the way you judge yourself. They don't sit there measuring your effort on a scale, tallying up the dinners, the flowers, the kind gestures. They feel you. They feel your energy, your presence, your center. They feel whether you're grounded or needy, whether you're leading or following, whether you're acting from strength or from fear. And when she feels weakness, even in silence, desire dies. This is why money was never enough. Money buys comfort. Money buys routine. Money buys time. But it cannot buy obsession. Obsession comes from your energy. From the way you carry yourself when she pushes against you. From the way you hold your frame when she tests, when she withdraws, when she tries to provoke chaos. Do you break? Do you chase? Do you beg? Or do you remain calm, composed, steady, showing her with your very presence that nothing she does can shake you? That's the kind of man she cannot erase. That's the kind of man she dreams about, obsesses over, and remembers when every other man fades. The man who doesn't just provide resources, but commands emotional gravity. That's what she wants more than money. And if you don't learn how to embody it, you'll keep repeating the same cycle, giving more, getting less, and wondering why the harder you try, the less she respects you. You've been conditioned to believe that love is earned through performance. That if you just do enough, say the right words, buy the right gifts, sacrifice your time, she will finally recognize your value. But here's the cruel paradox. The more you try to prove your worth, the less worthy you appear. Because a man who is truly valuable does not audition for approval. He radiates it. This is why women test men. Not because they enjoy drama, but because testing is the only way they can feel what you're made of. When she pulls away, when she criticizes you, when she compares you to someone else, it isn't just her being difficult. It's her subconscious searching for proof. Proof that your strength is real. Proof that your presence is unshakable. Proof that you're not just performing confidence, you embody it. And here is where most men collapse. They interpret her tests as rejection. They panic. They double down on effort, overcompensating with more gifts, more attention, more pleading. They try to buy back her desire with comfort. But desire doesn't respond to comfort. It responds to uncertainty, to tension, to the sense that you could leave at any moment because your life is full and complete without her. That is the truth she cannot resist, even if she never admits it. Think about this. Why does the man who gives her less often end up being the one she obsesses over? Because he doesn't hand his power to her on a silver platter. His attention is scarce. His presence is earned. She feels like she could lose him if she doesn't rise to his level. And that sensation, that danger of loss, is exactly what fuels her attraction. It keeps her awake, wondering, restless, obsessed. Meanwhile, the man who gives endlessly, who bends over backward to prove himself, kills the very tension that creates attraction. She doesn't have to fight for his attention. She doesn't have to earn his respect. She doesn't have to wonder if he'll still be there tomorrow, because he's already made himself too available, too predictable, too easy. And women may appreciate easy in theory, but they never obsess over it. Because here's the psychological law you must never forget. What is abundant loses value. What is scarce becomes priceless. When you give her all of your attention, when you collapse your world around her, when you hand her emotional power on demand, you are abundant. You're cheap. But when you respect yourself enough to withhold, to stay grounded, to move on your own timeline, you become scarce. You become valuable. You become unforgettable. This is the brutal shift you must make if you want to embody masculine presence. You must kill the belief that effort equals attraction. Effort might win her gratitude. It might win her politeness. But gratitude does not equal desire. Desire is primal. It's irrational. It thrives on tension, on mystery, on not knowing if she has all of you yet. And the moment she feels certain, fully secure that she controls you, her desire dies. That's why money can't fix this. A man can shower her with luxuries, cover every expense, provide everything materially, but if he lacks emotional leadership, she will eventually feel bored, restless, uninspired. Because money may buy stability, but it can never buy the edge she craves. That edge only comes from your energy, your self-respect, your ability to hold your ground without flinching. So ask yourself this: when she withdraws, do you chase? When she tests you, do you argue? When she pulls away, do you panic? Every time you do, you hand her proof that she is the leader of the emotional frame. And once she feels that she may still use you, she may still accept your gifts, she may still enjoy your company, but deep down she loses respect. And once respect dies, desire follows. Women want what money cannot provide. They want the emotional certainty that only comes from a man who doesn't beg, who doesn't bend, who doesn't need her approval to breathe. They want the quiet storm of a man who can sit in silence without fear, who can hold eye contact without flinching, who can walk away if she disrespects him. That's the presence she remembers. That's the presence she craves. Understand this: she doesn't want you to solve her life. She doesn't need you to be her servant. What she desires more than anything is to feel that your world is bigger than her. That you're already full, already complete, already moving with direction, and she has to earn the right to be a part of it. That's when her desire wakes up. That's when she starts fighting for your attention instead of you fighting for hers. And that is the masculine psychology most men will never grasp. Because they're too addicted to approval. Too afraid of silence. Too desperate to be chosen. And as long as you live in that frame, you will keep giving more and receiving less. There's a reason some men walk into a room and every eye turns to them without a single word spoken. It's not because they're the richest. It's not because they're the loudest. It's because they radiate presence, an energy that cannot be faked, bought, or borrowed. And presence, my brother, is what women crave more than money. Presence is gravitational. It pulls people in without force. It demands respect without asking. It makes her pulse quicken without explanation. And it's built on 3 pillars: vision, control, and detachment. Master these and you become unforgettable. Ignore them and you'll remain just another man chasing scraps of attention. The first pillar is vision. A man with vision knows exactly who he is and where he's going. He isn't swayed by approval, by trends, by the need to adapt his life to fit hers. His direction is already set, his mission already clear, and that's what makes him magnetic. Because when a woman feels your vision, she realizes she cannot be your entire world. She can only be part of it. And that tension, that subtle sense that your life is bigger than her, ignites her desire. She doesn't want to own your world. She wants to be invited into it. The second pillar is control. Not control over her. That's weakness disguised as dominance. I'm talking about control over yourself. Control over your emotions, your impulses, your reactions. Because nothing kills attraction faster than a man who breaks at the first sign of resistance. If her silence sends you into panic, if her test makes you beg, if her withdrawal makes you unravel, then you've lost before the game even began. But a man who can feel fear and not run, feel anger and not explode, feel desire and not lose his center, that man becomes unshakable. And women feel it instantly. They test him harder, they push, they prod, and when he remains steady they surrender. Because stability in the middle of chaos is rare. And what is rare becomes irresistible. The third pillar is detachment. And this is the hardest one to swallow because it requires killing the boy inside you who seeks constant approval. Detachment doesn't mean you don't care. It doesn't mean you're cold. It means you are free. Free from needing her to validate you. Free from clinging to her affection like oxygen. Free from begging for her attention as proof of your worth. A detached man can give deeply but never from need. He can walk away at any moment, not out of cruelty but out of self-respect. And that, paradoxically, is what makes her hold on tighter. Because she knows she can't control him. She knows his world won't collapse without her. She knows his presence is his own. And that knowledge makes him unforgettable. Vision, control, detachment. These three pillars form the core of masculine gravity. Without them, you're just another man competing with his wallet, trying to buy her attention like it's for sale. With them, you become the man she thinks about when the lights are off and the room is silent. The man whose absence weighs more than another man's presence. The man she cannot predict, cannot own, cannot replace. This is why women want presence more than money. Because money can provide comfort, but only presence can provide fire. Money can pay the bills, but only presence can dominate her emotions. Money can make life easier, but only presence can make life unforgettable. And in the end, she doesn't crave the man who made her comfortable. She craves the man who made her feel alive. So here's the question. When she looks at you, does she feel safe, or does she feel stirred? Does she see a man who gives endlessly to keep her calm, or a man whose very existence makes her want to rise? Because if you're still living as the man who bends, who pleads, who proves, you will keep giving and she will keep leaving. But if you step into vision, into control, into detachment, you will stop chasing her because she will be the one chasing you. Every man has faced it. The sudden silence, the sharp remark, the cold withdrawal, the subtle comparison to another man. Most call it drama. Some call it manipulation. But let me tell you the truth, those are tests. Not conscious, not calculated, but instinctive. Deep in her biology, deep in her psychology, a woman tests to feel if your strength is real. Think about it. How else could she know? Every man can talk. Every man can pretend confidence, flash his money, fake composure. But under pressure, the mask always cracks. So she pushes. She questions. She withdraws. She creates storms, not because she wants to destroy you but because she needs to know if you are unshakable. And if you fail, if you collapse, if you beg, she cannot respect you. This is where men get it wrong. They think her tests are rejection. They think they have to fix them, to overcompensate, to reassure her. They bring more gifts, more apologies, more desperate effort. But all they're really doing is proving they are followers of her emotional climate instead of leaders of it. They show her that her moods control them. And when that happens, attraction dies quietly in her chest. The test is not about perfection. It's about steadiness. When she pulls away, do you panic? When she cancels plans, do you rage? When she flirts with distance, do you crumble? Every reaction you give tells her exactly what she needs to know, whether your confidence is real or if it was just a mask waiting to shatter. And here's the part men don't want to hear. She doesn't do this because she's cruel. She does it because she's wired to. Her subconscious has one mission: find the man who won't break. The man who can withstand storms. The man whose emotions are his own. Because in nature, a woman's survival depended on this. She could not risk giving herself to a man who would collapse under pressure, because her future, her children, her security depended on his strength. That instinct hasn't left. It's alive in every look, every silence, every test she throws your way. But here's where the game flips. If you understand this, if you stop interpreting her tests as rejection and start seeing them as opportunities, everything changes. Because every time she tests you, she is giving you a chance to prove your frame. She is giving you a chance to separate yourself from the 97% of men who fold. And if you hold steady, calm, relaxed, unshaken, you don't just pass. You imprint. You become unforgettable because you've shown her something rare. A man who cannot be controlled. Now imagine this. She throws a jab expecting you to chase. You don't. She goes silent expecting you to panic. You don't. She pulls away expecting you to beg. You don't. Do you know what happens in her mind? Curiosity. Confusion. Desire. She starts asking herself, why isn't he reacting like the others? Why can't I shake him? Why does his calm make me feel more drawn, more restless, more alive? That's when you've crossed the line from replaceable to unforgettable. And this is where presence trumps money every single time. Because money can buy her comfort, but it cannot buy her respect. Money can rent her time, but it cannot rent her obsession. Only emotional leadership, only your calm in the storm, can carve that mark into her psyche. And once it's there, no gift, no dinner, no attention from another man can erase it. So the next time you feel tested, don't whine. Don't collapse. Don't rush to prove yourself. See it for what it is, the gateway. The moment she is silently asking, "Are you the man who bends, or the man who holds?" And how you answer, not with words but with your energy, will decide everything. Desire is not logical. If it were, every man who provided stability, comfort, and money would be adored, cherished, and never abandoned. But look around. How many men have given everything, only to be left for the one who gave less? How many good men were replaced by men who didn't invest half the effort? The answer is everywhere. And the reason is simple. Women don't crave predictability. They crave the paradox, safety wrapped in danger, stability laced with unpredictability. This is why the man who gives her everything, who is always available, who bends his life around her schedule, becomes invisible to her desire. He is safe, yes, but he is too safe. He is predictable, certain, guaranteed, and the human brain does not obsess over what is guaranteed. Obsession comes from uncertainty. Desire thrives in tension, in the gap between what she feels and what she knows. So what is the balance? How do you give her the security she needs while still feeding the unpredictability she craves? The answer lies in your presence. You must be immovable in your core, your vision, your values, your boundaries, but unpredictable in your expression. She must know that your respect for yourself is unshakable, but your energy is never routine. She must feel safe in your strength, yet stirred by your mystery. Imagine this. You are consistent in your direction, in your discipline, in your standards. She knows you won't bend just to please her. That's security. But she never knows exactly how you'll respond to her moods, to her tests, to her presence. Sometimes you match her fire with calm silence. Sometimes you turn away and disappear into your own world. Sometimes you challenge her directly with piercing words. That unpredictability keeps her alert, keeps her restless, keeps her chasing. This is the paradox. Women say they want stability, but what keeps their hearts racing is the risk of loss. They say they want safety, but what makes them obsessed is danger. The danger of not fully owning you, the danger of not being certain, the danger of knowing you could leave at any moment because you are not bound by need. And here's the truth most men never accept. The moment she feels she has you completely, her desire begins to fade. Not because she doesn't love you, but because the mystery is gone. The chase is over. The tension has dissolved. And without tension, desire cannot survive. This is why you must always maintain contrast. Not by playing games. Not by faking disinterest. But by living as a man who is always bigger than her. Whose world, whose mission, whose essence is never fully consumed by her presence. Money can buy her a house, but it cannot make her restless for your attention. Money can secure her lifestyle, but it cannot ignite the fire in her chest when she wonders why you didn't respond right away. Money can provide comfort, but it cannot provoke the storm inside her when she realizes you could leave if she crosses your boundaries. Only your presence, your paradox of safety and unpredictability, can do that. So here's the question. Are you the man who gives her everything only to bore her with certainty? Or are you the man who gives her just enough to feel safe but not enough to feel in control? Because the second man is the one she obsesses over. The one she dreams about. The one she cannot stop chasing. Understand this. When you master the paradox, you no longer compete. You no longer beg. You no longer audition. You live in your frame, in your vision, in your silence. And she adapts to you. She fights for you. She clings to you. Because women want safety, yes, but only from a man they can never fully possess. Every man has two versions inside him. The first is the boy who still begs for approval. The one who learned early in life that love had to be earned, that acceptance came only when he pleased others, that his value depended on the smile or the validation of someone outside him. That boy grows into a man who bends, who chases, who apologizes for existing. He becomes the man who mistakes sacrifice for strength, who calls weakness devotion, who thinks giving endlessly will finally make him worthy. And that man always loses. Because a woman cannot crave what she can control. And the approval-seeking man is the easiest to control. His emotions bend with her moods. His priorities shift with her attention. His self-worth rises and falls with her validation. He is not a man, he is a reflection of her. And once she feels this, even if she stays, she cannot desire him. That man must die. Yes, you heard me. He must die. His habits, his mindset, his desperate hunger to be liked, burn it to the ground. Because as long as he lives inside you, he will sabotage you. He will whisper in your ear to text back instantly, to bend your boundaries, to accept disrespect, to buy her attention, to prove yourself over and over again. And every time you obey him, you bleed away your power. But death is not the end, it's the rebirth of your second self. The man who no longer seeks approval because he approves of himself. The man who no longer chases because he knows he is the prize. The man who no longer bends because he has a spine of steel. This is the man women cannot erase, because his energy leaves a mark deeper than any gift, deeper than any words. So how do you kill the boy? Brutal honesty. You start by asking yourself, how often do I act just to please? How often do I betray my own voice to avoid her anger? How often do I give more than I receive just to keep her close? Every answer you uncover is a rope tied around your neck. And if you don't cut those ropes, you'll keep hanging yourself in every relationship. The approval-seeking man also dies through boundaries. The first time you say no without fear, a piece of him crumbles. The first time you hold your silence instead of rushing to explain, another piece turns to dust. The first time you walk away instead of begging for her to stay, you bury him 6 feet deeper. And in that burial, in that death, the new man rises. But here's the part no one tells you: she wants this death. She may test you, she may resist, she may act like she's angry when you finally stop chasing, but deep down she craves it. Because she never wanted the boy. She never wanted the servant. She wanted the man. And the man only appears when the boy is gone. So let me ask you, how much longer will you let that weak version run your life? How many more years will you waste being the man who bends, who begs, who proves? Because every day you live as him, you are killing the desire she could have for you. Every day you obey him, you are trading your strength for scraps of affection. And deep down you know it. You can feel it. That hunger, that emptiness, that exhaustion from giving more and more only to receive less and less. The approval-seeking man must die. Not tomorrow. Not next year. No. Because until he does, you will never step into the presence that women crave more than money. The presence of the man who is full in himself, who doesn't beg for attention, who doesn't collapse under pressure, who doesn't need her to survive, but chooses her because she rises to his standard. That man is magnetic. That man is unforgettable. That man is you, if you kill the boy first. Every man has 2 versions inside him. The first is the boy who still begs for approval, the one who learned early in life that love had to be earned, that acceptance came only when he pleased others, that his value depended on the smile or the validation of someone outside him. That boy grows into a man who bends, who chases, who apologizes for existing. He becomes the man who mistakes sacrifice for strength, who calls weakness devotion, who thinks giving endlessly will finally make him worthy. And that man always loses. Because a woman cannot crave what she can control. And the approval-seeking man is the easiest to control. His emotions bend with her moods. His priorities shift with her attention. His self-worth rises and falls with her validation. He is not a man, he is a reflection of her. And once she feels this, even if she stays, she cannot desire him. That man must die. Yes, you heard me. He must die. His habits, his mindset, his desperate hunger to be liked, burn it to the ground. Because as long as he lives inside you, he will sabotage you. He will whisper in your ear to text back instantly, to bend your boundaries, to accept disrespect, to buy her attention, to prove yourself over and over again. And every time you obey him, you bleed away your power. But death is not the end, it's the rebirth of your second self. The man who no longer seeks approval because he approves of himself. The man who no longer chases because he knows he is the prize. The man who no longer bends because he has a spine of steel. This is the man women cannot erase, because his energy leaves a mark deeper than any gift, deeper than any words. So how do you kill the boy? Brutal honesty. You start by asking yourself, how often do I act just to please? How often do I betray my own voice to avoid her anger? How often do I give more than I receive just to keep her close? Every answer you uncover is a rope tied around your neck. And if you don't cut those ropes, you'll keep hanging yourself in every relationship. The approval-seeking man also dies through boundaries. The first time you say no without fear, a piece of him crumbles. The first time you hold your silence instead of rushing to explain, another piece turns to dust. The first time you walk away instead of begging for her to stay, you bury him 6 feet deeper. And in that burial, in that death, the new man rises. But here's the part no one tells you: she wants this death. She may test you, she may resist, she may act like she's angry when you finally stop chasing, but deep down she craves it. Because she never wanted the boy. She never wanted the servant. She wanted the man. And the man only appears when the boy is gone. So let me ask you, how much longer will you let that weak version run your life? How many more years will you waste being the man who bends, who begs, who proves? Because every day you live as him, you are killing the desire she could have for you. Every day you obey him, You are trading your strength for scraps of affection. And deep down, you know it. You can feel it. That hunger, that emptiness, that exhaustion from giving more and more only to receive less and less. The approval-seeking man must die. Not tomorrow. Not next year. No. Because until he does, you will never step into the presence that women crave more than money. The presence of the man who is full in himself, who doesn't beg for attention, who doesn't collapse under pressure, who doesn't need her to survive, but chooses her because she rises to his standard. That man is magnetic. That man is unforgettable. That man is you, if you kill the boy first.